scene which might have been scripted for a Dan Brown novel. On the afternoon of Tuesday, May 21st, 78-year-old conservative hardline historian and writer Dominique Venner placed a letter on the altar at Paris's Notre Dame Cathedral in which he argued that more drastic measures were needed to prevent the French government from changing the law to recognize the validity of same-sex marriage. Venner then placed a pistol in his mouth and, according to Catholic teaching, consigned his eternal soul to permanent damnation. Hundreds of tourists and visitors were directly evacuated from the historic building, which is one of Paris's most visited attractions, receiving some 13 million guests each year. A long-time right-wing activist and blogger, Venner had recently posted an anti-gay marriage screed, which read in part, "We're entering a time where words should be authenticated by actions." Considering that gay marriage in France had already been passed in Parliament, with the first such marriage scheduled for the following week, perhaps the words he was acting on were, "You can have gay marriage over my dead body." In Creole vernacular, a Beguine is a white female. In the 1930s, the Beguine was also the name of a popular dance similar to the rumba. And from the 13th century until recently, Beguine was the name of a semi-monastic community of women who lived lives similar to nuns, but who did not take religious vows. Originating in Europe during the Crusades, the Beguine order became sanctuaries to independent-minded women, often widows, who wanted the protection afforded by a community, but did not wish to marry or surrender their property to the church. A Beguine was always free to leave. Each group made its own rules, and, for the most part, both the church and the government left them alone, albeit with the occasional and unavoidable charge of heresy. For 800 years his order survived in an almost perpetual decline until they finally lost their last member, Marcella Paton, who passed in April of this year at the age of 92 in Courtrai, Belgium, where she had become famous when in 2008 she was declared the last of the Beguines. More people believe in an afterlife than believe in God. Belief in heaven is especially popular. Polls show that more people believe in heaven than believe in hell. But most churches don't talk about heaven anymore. Those who do talk about it are usually mystics or believers who dwell on the fringes of mainstream religion. There are also anecdotal accounts from those who say they died and went to heaven, only to be brought back to life by medical science. Eben Alexander, a Harvard-trained neurosurgeon, wrote about his experiences in his book, Proof of Heaven, where he claimed that a bout with E. coli gave him a brush with death, heaven, and God. He says there's no reason to fear death. It's a transition. It's not the end of anything, Eben said in an interview. Fellow neurosurgeons criticized his book and said that there were other explanations for his experiences. Few pastors spend much time talking about heaven anymore. Lisa Miller, author of Heaven, Our Enduring Fascination with the Afterlife, and a former religion columnist for the Washington Post, says that heaven is a tough topic for the pastor. She also says that you can't get too literal because you can risk sounding too silly. If you don't talk about it, you're evading one of the most important questions about theology and why people come to church. Another author, Reverend John Price, enraged conservative Christians when he claimed that they aren't the only ones going to heaven. Scientists don't accept the personal accounts of Eben Alexander as proof of heaven. It remains a controversial topic even among many believers today.